And we are live with another edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Nicholas Pavona, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host, Andrew Johnson. And Johnson, we mentioned this on the College Football Show, but it's our first time in a little bit since we've been back here on the show, recapping this time around the NFL this past weekend, week number 4 in the National Football League. Of course, week number 3 also brought up some big moments. We've a certain quarterback injury that we didn't really get to talk about, that being the Joe Burrow injury. That's a big loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. We had a couple of big games this past weekend. A nice game on Thursday night that I could get a little bit more in-depth detail as to what happened, being that I was at the game. A thrilling finish in Philadelphia. A stunning matchup in Cleveland, Ohio. And, of course, a thrilling Monday Night Football game between Detroit and Baltimore. But, Johnson, big game up, another big slate upcoming this week here, week number 4. It's crazy to think that we're already coming up to week number 4 of this NFL season.
Almost 25% of the way done. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. Okay. Don't make it somber.
It's true though. Only quarter of the way through.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that we're already here at this point. It just feels like once you get the kickoff, and then you're like, oh wow, I'm already a quarter away.
Yeah, because
in the
you know
season.
what?
It's like
the first
crazy.
couple weeks go by very fast because it's still September, right? For example, we were at a wedding last week, so we couldn't do it and we couldn't watch. And I'm sure you're gonna have people are gonna go pumpkin picking and apple picking, and then so like the first couple of weeks of the fall kind of fly because you're gonna get tied up 1 or 2 Sundays, and that's half the time in September. And by the time you're looking, it's already gonna be October football. So the first couple weeks always drag. Once you're in the winter time and you're not going outside as much, and you're not gonna be down the shore, or you're not gonna be going apple picking or whatever, then it really like sinks in. Then it kind of lasts a little bit longer. But I want to say the fast part is kind of gone at this point. But anyway, Nick, take us into what happened last week.
Yeah, and before we go into it, I usually mentioned we had the wedding this past week. Congratulations as well to our friend Christian Montez and his newly wife Madeline Montez. Now we could say that. Great wedding. Overall, great atmosphere. Great fun week in Buffalo. Yeah, just great memories with all the family and friends that we got to see this past weekend.
Absolutely, yeah,
I
great
know you
time.
agree with that as well, but. Let's talk about what happened this past week, as you mentioned, in the NFL, week number 3. And speaking of Buffalo, let's talk about that Thursday night game in Buffalo between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And I obviously with the wedding, it kind of this kind of perfectly also tied into helping me attend my first Buffalo Bills game. I got to go with my uncle Greg Newman. Shout out to my uncle who listens to our show every week, and he got to take me to my first game this past Thursday in Buffalo and Orchard Park. And I always say I haven't really said this, Johnson, because I haven't really been to a lot of NFL games the last couple of years. The Giants obviously have been a train wreck, and I'll go into that a little bit later on the show. But it just feels so much different how they treat these games in Buffalo. Like, and I'm sure you could agree with this because you saw it as well too. Everywhere you go around that entire city, state,
It's a religion up there
it is
by
legit.
far. I've
Everyone
never
is
seen
talking about this
anything like
game.
it when it comes to like the Buffalo Bill or sports fandom.
Right.
The only thing I can relate it to is when I've been to Texas a couple times. When you
Yes.
go to Texas, you see the state flag. Everyone's like, "Wow, they really love the state flag." When you go to Buffalo, you see Bills everywhere.
Yes.
Hoodies, T-shirts, jerseys, flags, bumper stickers, whatever it is, everywhere. Doesn't matter. I was in the Buffalo Zoo this past weekend, Bill stuff. I was in Bar Bill Tavern, obviously, Bill stuff. Driving around, Bill stuff. On the side of a road, people selling Bills merch. So, it's everywhere.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I think, what was fun about this game, too, is that you go to this game and obviously, you see the amount of jerseys and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to see current players and stuff like that. Well, not only did I get to see current player jerseys, I saw old Buffalo Bills players. I'm seeing guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Paul Pleslunsky. I think I saw a Percy Harvin jersey at one point. He was on the Bills for like
How
a
about
cup of
JP
coffee.
Losman?
I did see a JP Losman jersey at one point. But that's what it just goes to show you. It doesn't matter who played for this franchise. Whether they were good or bad, the fans love those players. Like they treat them as gods, in my opinion, because they're just that big of a franchise and that great of an organization in terms of fan base. Like they do it well, very, very well up in Buffalo. And being at this game was great. I kind of described it, Johnson, as a college football atmosphere where every
Yeah,
single
that's
play
that's fair. I would
right,
agree
like
with that.
the fans were there, was involved on every single play. Anytime the Bills did something insane, like Josh Allen had a couple incredible passes in this game, including a flip into the end zone for a touchdown pass, and it really just like knocked me off on my feet and thinking to myself, how does this happen? And I think the other thing too is, going to the stadium, it's in a suburban area. People offering their driveways to allow you to park to go to the game. Like that's something I've never seen in my entire life. And I don't think I ever will see that again. And, got to see the new stadium across the street as well, too. So that looks to be in tip top condition and we'll be ready for next season. And this game was a fun game between these two teams. Obviously going into the game, Buffalo 2-0, Miami 0-2. Buffalo expected to win this game by a lot of points. I think the original spread was 11.5. And Buffalo and Miami traded shots in the first half. It was tied 14-14 going into the break. It got the Bills fans a little bit restless because of how the defense was playing, especially on third down. But big play realistically in the fourth quarter realistically decided this game for these two teams. The Bills had, were about to punt the ball away. The game was tied at 21. A roughing the punter penalty gave the Bills a new set of downs. They drove down the field, got the go-ahead touchdown. They then took the lead, but Miami then got down the field, got into Buffalo territory, and then unfortunately for Tua, he had an unfortunate interception late in the game with about 3 minutes left in that one. The Dolphins weren't able to get the ball back until like 20 seconds left, and at that point, they were down 10 points in this game. They lose this one 31-21. The Bills now 3-0 on the season. Miami dropping to 0-3. Josh Allen, as I mentioned, was sensational. 22-28, 213, 3 touchdowns. Big story, I think, for this one was James Cook and what he's been doing so far for this Bills offense. 108 yards rushing, another touchdown. I think right now, I know for a fact he's in the top 5 for rushing leaders. I think Jonathan Taylor is number 1, and he might be number 2. I'd have to double check that. But Jonathan, looking right now that Buffalo is doing what exactly everyone was expecting them to do. And unfortunately for Miami, what people had thought maybe they thought, okay, maybe they could just be at best a mid team. They're right now looking like one of the bottom teams in the NFL because their defense is not playing great and their offense has been pretty much hit or miss so far in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and Tua just looks like a different quarterback. Unfortunately, looked one of those. He looked great in college. He looked great his first couple of years in the NFL, but I think he's been injured way too many times where it's really affected his psyche because he doesn't throw the same way, he doesn't run the same way, doesn't have that confidence. It seems like he's scared to play out there, and
Yeah,
what
every
was
throw
once
with
looking like a perennial Pro Bowl quarterback looks lost.
yeah, every throw was pretty much a check down. It wasn't like I think he threw one pass over 30 yards in this game. It was an incompletion. Every completion he had in this game was either a dump off to Devon Achan or it was like a slant route to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. Like it wasn't anything crazy. So it is definitely he's definitely like delivering on a new style of what he's doing. So I don't know. I think for Miami this upcoming week against the Jets, we'll talk about that game later on in the Mushing Hour. This pretty much is going to be the definition of what's going to happen the rest of the way. Like, are they going to keep their guys and Tyreek Hill and Mike McDaniel? Are they going to fire McDaniel and then trade Tyreek Hill when it gets closer to the deadline? This probably will be the deciding factor game that will decide what happens later on in the season. But if you're Buffalo, I mean, you got to feel great right now. 3-0. You've done pretty much a lot of great things offensively. The defense is still a little bit in a worrying spot, in my opinion. I think they'll be better as the season goes on. They have a nice tune-up matchup this week with the Saints. But the offense is just clicking right now. Josh Allen showing why he was the MVP last season. He's probably right now the favorite to win the MVP early on here in this season as well. And we'll see what Buffalo can do the rest of the way. But a great start, and as I mentioned, it was a great week to kind of finally get to have that opportunity to see what this Bills Mafia, as they term it, what the Bills Mafia is all about, and they went above and beyond, in my opinion. They showed why they're probably one of the more passionate fan bases I've seen in my entire lifetime.
All
So
right, and
I'll leave it
let's
at
talk
that.
about the next game here, which was a stunner over the Green Bay Packers. Tied late in the fourth quarter with a minute to go in Browns territory. Green Bay goes to kick a field goal, and what happens? They blow it.
Blocked field goal. Browns go down the field, kick the game winner. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. A lot of pick 'em pools like myself,
Me
you and
too.
myself here. So like it's
And sorry, Uncle
crazy.
Greg, but it was also you too. All three of us got eliminated because of the Packers and what happened this past week. Yeah, I think this was like a punch. Like I mentioned this on the college football show too. Like this was kind of like a gut punch for Green Bay. It kind of like a wake up call because what had happened the first 2 weeks of the season? The Packers were dominating. They beat the Lions and the Commanders, two playoff teams from the previous season, by double digit points. They had just were dominating to start the season, and they were out. And I think the biggest concern in this game, their offense didn't look great. They couldn't run the football. Jordan Love was in constant pressure throughout the entirety of this game, and they were still up 10-0 going into the fourth quarter. Keep in mind, but then everything really much went awry. Love throws a bad interception that leads to the Browns' lone touchdown in the game. They then, as we just mentioned, had a scenario where they blocked the field goal that would have put the Packers on top 13-10. They go down the field and they win the game 13-10. The final, they get their first win of the year, and the Packers now drop to 2-1 the season.
Yeah, I don't know really. Like you said, this is gonna be a gut punch for Green Bay, and it's gonna be how they respond now.
We'll
Like
see
they
on
could
Sunday
either,
night.
yeah, listen, they could either say, hey, we're a better team than this. We, at every single position, and this shouldn't have happened, and now we're gonna respond accordingly. Or we can just roll over and be like, oh man, that was BS. But we can make excuses. Or you can just accept, okay, you know what? We didn't try our best. We didn't play our best, and now we have to respond accordingly. And if that's the case, they'll be fine for the rest of the season. But it's all gonna be contingent on this game this weekend.
And how about one of the more thrilling finishes we had also, Johnson, this past Sunday was the game between the Rams and the Eagles. And that game was all Rams for the majority of the first half. The Rams were going into halftime up 19-7. They started the second half getting a fumble recovery on Jalen Hurts, got down the field quickly and scored a touchdown. They were up 26-7 early in the third quarter, and then things just kind of unraveled for them afterwards after that happened. Jalen Hurts finally was able to throw his first touchdown pass of the season, that going to Dallas Goedert. They then got another touchdown late in the third quarter with him and A.J. Brown, who finally connected on something this season. And despite all that happening, the Eagles took the late lead, a touchdown with 148 left to go up by 1 point. But the Rams had a chance to win this game at the end. They set up for a field goal attempt with as the last play of the game, and the Eagles are able to block the kick by Jordan Davis. Davis then returns the kick for a touchdown. So the Rams go from up 26-7, blowing the lead, to being down a point and having a chance to kick the game-winning field goal and lose this game by a full touchdown, 33-26. This was a game where if you had the Rams plus 3.5, you were going through all of the motions and had to be sick to your stomach with how this game ended, because they go from being up 19 to being down one, and even if they miss the field goal, they still cover, to losing the game and to losing that spread because of how the touchdown being or the kick being returned for a touchdown.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy where we kind of stand here, and I guess I'll sound like a broken record. I don't really have much to talk about this game. It's just another gut punch. Like
Yeah,
it's
Rams easily be 3-0 right now.
very easily they blew that game, and they have to respond accordingly now. It was a great lock in moment for the Eagles. They really overcame adversity, being down double digits late in the game. And now you see how the Rams respond. It's been the same, kind of same camp with the Packers, because they should be 3-0 and they lost in a dramatic fashion.
Right.
Them so much a longer collapse, and the Packers was like literally a 60-second maneuver of game time that they left for pretty much 47 minutes. They controlled the game, even though it was tied, whatever is close, but completely different situation for the Rams, and maybe the NFL will finally ban the tush push. I don't know.
That will never happen. It's not gonna
Well,
happen.
they're calling it a
Honestly,
lot. They did call it a lot closer this time, because Andy
I
Reid and
know.
the Chiefs did complain about it, and they did call it closer. So that's, I guess, one step in the right direction.
I think, also about this game, and it also ties into what happened last season. The Rams have played the Eagles really good the last two times they played them. And they probably should have won both of those games against Philadelphia. They need to figure out exactly how they can finish the game against the Eagles because both the playoff matchup and this game they should have won or had a chance to win, and they just faltered at the end. They had the bad defense against the run in the playoffs. This game, they really did a good job stopping the run, and then they just couldn't stop Jalen Hurts in the air, who was having a really not a great start to the season in terms of passing yardage, but he didn't really need to pass the ball that much. This game, he had no choice because they were down 19, and Hurts made the most of it, and he got the Eagles to win.
Yeah, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day, right? Like in this
Yeah,
game, it doesn't matter what happens in the game. If you get the win, that's whatever. And
right.
speaking of winning, despite all the injuries, the 49ers are 3-0 now.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Brock Purdy doesn't play in this game. They're still without Ayuk. They, I think we're also. I'm trying to remember the other player that they had going into this game that wasn't playing. I think Jawan Jennings. It was Jawan Jennings. He didn't play as well in this game either. So you're going off backup, off backup, off backup, and the Niners still finding a way to win these games. Their defense is off to a great start this season. They did lose Nick Bosa in this game, which is a big, big loss because he tore his ACL in this game. So he's out for the rest of the season. And it's the same ACL, Johnson, that he tore back in 2020. So not a really good sight to see if you're a Niners fan. Yes, they are 3-0, but they probably are the only 3-0 team right now that I think are not happy with the 3-0 start because of all the players that they have lost so far early in the season.
Ironically, knock on wood, I hate that I'm saying this, but CMC is not one of those players right now.
I know it's crazy that he's the only guy that's not hurt. And obviously, for your sake and for fantasy purposes, you want that to stay that way.
Yep, absolutely. I just
Hey, Mac Jones was serviceable. Did another good job.
listen. I always said he got a bad rap over
He, he
there in
is
New England.
he is playing for a starting job right now for next season. That's
He
what
really
this
is,
all
and
is.
I'm really rooting for him. I said this
Not for
before,
this
but
team, but for a different team.
and this is the Kyle Shanahan quarterback because this is one that they rumored for, but they were trading up for Mac and they took Trey Lance instead. So this is really this is his time to shine because this is where
Now,
he should have been.
if you're a Cardinals fan, are you concerned right now with how your team is? Because James Conner gets injured in this game. He's done for the season. And I think the biggest concern, other than Conner being hurt for the year, Marvin Harrison Jr. looks really bad right now.
He
Like, he
has
looks
some. He has a
really
lot of
bad.
drop passes, and I know he has a lot of more games below 50 receiving yards and above 75.
I
I've seen
cannot
the
believe
stat.
what's happening.
He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. He's young. He's talented.
I know.
He's got good people surrounding him. He'll figure it out. He's got all the physical tools. He's just a little bit
Right.
nervous. He'll figure it
Like,
out.
as much as I don't like Ohio State, he was one of my favorite players I watched in college. Like, the Maserati Marv, like, nickname, he was just unstoppable in college. No one could touch him. And I think when the Cardinals took him, I'm thinking, okay, they finally have that guy that is going to be the next, and for their sake, is going to be their next Larry Fitzgerald. And I think after week two, remember last year, week two, he had that insane 140-yard game, and everyone's like, okay, this is it. Marvin Harris Jr. is taking is going to take that step. He's going to be the next Larry Fitzgerald for us. And then he just kind of just disappeared after that game, pretty much. And this game alone, too. I mean, he had some really bad drops, including a one where he was just wide open, not a defender in sight, and he dropped the ball just completely without any pressure around him. So there's definitely some concerns if you're a Cardinal fan, and they have a big game tonight. As of this recording, we're recording on Thursday night. We'll talk about that game in a little bit between them and the Seahawks, but I would definitely be concerned if you're a Cardinals fan with the way you're 2-1, but with the injury to Connor and the way that the offense has been playing so far, it's not looking good right now. That's not looking good for you right now.
Yeah, definitely not looking good. And
But I guess you could be a Giants fan, right?
you could be a Giants fan. That is true. And
Yeah, let's get
I
into
guess
it.
you can talk. I guess you can talk about it,
Let's
Nick.
just get into it. Here's the good thing about that wedding. At least I missed the majority of this game because I didn't have to see Russell Wilson for 3 quarters of football. I unfortunately had to see, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the worst goal line drives I've ever seen. 3 incompletions and a QB run. a throwaway on first down, QB run on second down, throwaway on third down, and a throwaway on fourth down when they were down 22-9 and late in the game. Like, it baffles my mind what he was doing on that play. He also had two really bad interceptions. The defense, I'm not going to say they were great in this game. They were fine. There's still a lot of concerns in the secondary. Like, we're allowing Tyquan Thornton and company to burn us in the secondary. That's a problem in itself. Patrick Mahomes really didn't face too much pressure in this game. And the Giants, this is a game they probably could have won, but the offense, again, it goes back to what we were saying for years under Daniel Jones. The offense is the problem. And there's no Daniel Jones is a scapegoat for you right now. Now you're making it Russell Wilson. Listen, you know me. I I liked Brian Dable for the majority of the last couple of years. I'm starting to get annoyed. I am starting to get annoyed. And because of what happened in this game, Dable now knows that his job is basically almost as cooked. He has no choice but to make the urgent call to go to Jackson Dart, which is going to happen next week. Dart's going to make his NFL debut Sunday in a tough matchup with the Chargers, but yeah, it does not look good right now. Scatterboo at least looks good. I at least like rely on that, but yeah, nothing looks good right now with the team. It's just pretty much all disaster right now.
Well, if you're a Giants fan now, Nick, what do you go from here? Because you had a real chance to win this game,
I know.
to say the least. Like to say that, oh man, it was on.
You saw me. I was pissed that they had the game on the bar after the wedding was over.
Yeah, I know. I hear you, but what do you do
I
now?
got so angry. I
just don't know where you go from
I had to
this.
get a Jack of Coke to calm me down. Where do you go from here? Well, you got to hope Dart's good. I mean, that's all you can hope for. That's really where you go from here at this point. You have to hope Dart is going to do any remotely better than what Russell Wilson just gave you. I think the other problem is the defense, which was highly touted going into the season, is not playing that great. We're not getting enough pressure that we should be getting. They're playing Abdul Carter at middle linebacker, which is really annoying because when Michael Parsons, I don't know if you remember when Michael Parsons came into the league, that's where the Cowboys originally had him lined up as a middle linebacker. And then they said to themselves, oh, we should probably put this guy on the defensive line and see what he can do. And look how that's turned out, obviously. They need to get Abdul Carter more opportunities to pass rush because they're wasting precious time with him right now. And the only reason they're doing this is because they lost Micah McFadden for pretty much the majority of the season. They have to get him involved. It's just weird because the schedule is not easy for this team. You're playing the Chargers who are 3-0, looking really good right now. I don't know if going to Dart this week was the right move. I would have preferred maybe next week being the start for him against the Saints. Maybe go with Jameis at worst case scenario this upcoming weekend, but we'll see. I think you got to hope that Dart just plays great. Even if they lose, I just want to see progression. I want to see if Dart looks good in Dable's system, then that could save Dable's job. If I want that to happen, sure. If I don't want that to happen, whatever. I need to see progression because I'm not saying anything right now. I thought last week, we didn't talk about their game against the Cowboys. That was a thrilling game that they should have won easily, and they just allowed Brandon Aubrey to go down the field to kick the game tying field goal, a 64-yarder or whatever.
Yeah, that was a great game. That was a fantastic.
And then Russell Wilson throws a moon ball in overtime that gets easily intercepted. It was an absolute errant throw, and he was having a phenomenal game before that. He had a career high in passing yards before he threw that interception, and then they lose on a last second field, and then they lose on the field goal to end the game. So it just seems it's just different stories. Same story, different year. That's what I would say, and we'll say you can't keep scapegoating the quarterback is what I'm getting at. Dable's got to be better than this because he was highly touted after leaving Buffalo as being the guy that helped Josh Allen be what he is. If Jackson Dart doesn't do well these first couple weeks, which I'm worried about because they're not giving him, he's put into a tough spot. The good thing is that Andrew Thomas is at least back, so that's at least a good sight to have your star left tackle. But I don't know. I gotta see progression from this team because Malik Neighbors is going out there and getting 2 catches for 20 yards at best right now. Scadaboo being the leading receiver and leading rusher, you can't keep doing that like every single time. Like I've seen this story with Saquon. I saw it last year with Tyrone Tracy, who got injured in this game. I can't see that happen to another running back. I can't have Scadaboo now getting hurt because he's the focal point of the offense. We need to get Malik Neighbors involved. You got to get Wandale involved. Slate, just get these guys involved in different factions. And if you want to use Jackson Dart as a runner, because that's what they were doing the first couple weeks in a package with him, fine, whatever. But you have to you just have to make sure that this kid can succeed, because if not, you're going to be in the same boat the offseason, new head coach, new GM, and question marks on if the quarterback is good enough to be the starter for the next couple of years. So just repeat, we're in a repeat cycle right now, and I hate it. I really do. It sucks.
Sorry about that, pal. But you know what doesn't suck?
Yeah.
The mushing hour.
Let's talk about the Monday night game before we go to the mushing hour.
Sure. Lions Ravens.
We'll go into it real quick. Yeah, that great game between those two teams. But one thing that's consistent right now, Johnson, is the Baltimore Ravens defense. I still, for the life of me, can't understand what's going on. They have so much playmakers on defense. And I talked about this after the Bills game, or in week 1. They just had no answer defensively in this game against Detroit. Gibbs went off. Montgomery went off. Amon-Ra went off. There is no answer right now defensively for Baltimore. And Derrick Henry's got a fumbling problem right now. Another fumble. I think that's already 3 on the young season. As Detroit wins this game 38-30, they go to 2-1. And Baltimore now, the thing about this, Johnson, if you had said to me at the beginning of the year, and we'll talk about this also in the mushing hour, if Baltimore and KC were 1-2, at the end of this upcoming week, one team's going to be 1-3. I don't think definitely no one would have said that.
Yeah, absolutely no one. If you said, "Oh yeah, Baltimore and KC would have the same record after week 3," I'm like, okay, it's not bold.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're expecting. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be really interesting because dare I say that both these coaches are fighting for their jobs potentially. I know they're not going to outright fire either of them,
but at least it starts. Campbell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going into the next. Not.
You're talking about Andy Reid?
Yeah, I'm talking more so about Andy Reid and
Andy Reid's not. They're never going to fire Andy Reid. They'd be stupid to do that.
Listen, I'm not saying they're not going to fire, but at least it plants a seed of doubt. And no, he's not the best coach in the game. That's definitely not.
Who's the best coach in the game?
It's not Andy Reid. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but it's not Andy Reid. It's not Andy Reid.
I know you don't like the Chiefs, but he is the best.
For overall mind of the game, it's McVay right now.
He's got to win.
I know he's already won a Super Bowl though.
He's got to, but you can't, but a multiple-time Super Bowl champion compared to a one-time Super Bowl champion.
He's also like 42 years old, so like he's got plenty of time.
I'm not. Listen. You know me.
Mind for the game right now.
I know McVay's a great genius of the game. Like he's a great play caller and everything. Get me another ring. I just want you to win in the title.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what they can do in the next couple of years.
But yeah, Harbaugh. I've spoken about it. Harbaugh enough. This guy, he should have been on eggshells years ago, in my opinion, because they've got like that Bills game that's happened before. Like they've blown leads like that before, and they lose games like that. This game, the offense is clicking on cylinders for the majority of this game, but their defense, for whatever reason, just I don't know. They just can't click. They have so many star players on this defense, and they just continuously give up 35 to 38 points. Like eventually, you have to figure out something.
They have to figure out eventually, but I just don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it at this point because you're at risk to lose the locker room here, and once the locker room is lost, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, look at Miami. Miami's a prime example. McDaniels probably lost the locker room. Look at how they are. 0-3 players getting talked about getting traded. Like, if the Ravens have this scenario happen again this week against Kansas City, I don't know how it doesn't get talked about because you can't. The Chiefs are not putting up a lot of points right now. Like they're putting up 20 to something, like 25 points, whatever, consistently right now. But they're not putting up like 32 to 35 points like they were years ago with like Tyreek Hill and company. Like if they give up like 35 points to the Chiefs this Sunday, something's wrong. They got to fire the DC or they got to do something internally because something's wrong. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I know you want. I know you want to get into the mushing hour. Let's do that because obviously, yeah, last week wasn't good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really great, but I'm still positive on the year, so that's great. But I got absolutely
Wait, how
smacked
are you?
last week.
No, you're positive college football.
Oh yeah, positive overall, but yeah, I got absolutely destroyed last week.
Don't you have
I'm
a losing record now?
yeah, I'm 10-15 now.
So that's not positive.
Yeah, I'm positive between the two of them. All right,
Okay, all right. Between the two of them,
between the two
fine,
of them,
fine,
I'm
fine, fine,
positive. But
fine.
yeah,
Fine.
last week
Okay.
was horrific.
I'm sorry. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let's do this, Johnson. So obviously, we have a Thursday night game tonight, being as of this recording. We will know the result by the time everyone listens to this game afterwards. But for all intents and purposes, let's make our pick for this upcoming Thursday night game, which is about to kick off. And I think about an hour and 15 minutes. It's Seattle at Arizona. The Seahawks on the road, a 1.5 point favorite, over under 43.5 for this game.
Give me Arizona plus 1.5. I think they'll figure it out. I'm hoping Marv has that big game.
Until I see it, I can't trust them. I'm going to go with Seattle minus 1.5. Their defense looks pretty good right now. Like I'm actually liking what the Seahawks are doing defensively, and I just trust their playmakers a lot more right now than Arizona because Arizona's just got a big question mark right now. Kyler's going to be an interest. It's going to be an interesting game for Kyler Murray tonight. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, that brings us to game number two. It's our game in Dublin. Vikings versus Steelers. Vikings are 2.5 point favorite over under 41.5. Give me Steelers plus 2.5 here. These games overseas are wonky and they tend to be low scoring. And give me Vikings. Sorry, Steelers plus 2.5.
I'm so glad you say they're low scoring because I am going with that route. I'm taking the under in this game. Carson Wentz against the Steelers, Rodgers against the Vikings. Remember what happened last year with Rodgers in London against this Vikings defense? I don't see this being a high scoring game. I don't see it. I think it's going to be close, maybe like 17-14 at best. I got the under in this game in Dublin. I'm glad you said that these games usually tend to be on low scoring. So I'm with you on that as well. Let's go to our next game, a big matchup in the NFC on Sunday. Eagles at Buccaneers. The Eagles are a 3.5 point favorite, over under 43.5.
Give me Bucks plus 3.5 here. I think Eagles kind of used up all of their juju last week, so I think the Bucks will cover here. If they're at home, it's going to be close. So give me Bucks plus for 3.5 here.
Does the Mike Evans injury concern you with Tampa?
They might get Chris Godwin back, so
Hmm.
and he is slated. He is on schedule to play right now. Obviously, that can change over the weekend, but if you have Godwin out there and you have Ibuka out there, you should be fine.
If not, Abuka's gonna have an interesting week. Um,
Yeah, so
he'll
I think
probably be guarded by
he'll
Mitchell,
still
I
have
guess.
one of these guys are going to have pressure off them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So one of those guys will be open.
I'm gonna go with the over in this game. I really like despite not having Mike Evans, I still love what Tampa Bay brings to the table offensively with Bucky Irving and Ibuka in this game. And obviously the Eagles, I mean, Saquon, Hurts, AJ Brown finally had a big game last week. Devonta Smith, of course, always primed to have some big games. I can see this just being a very high scoring game between these two teams. And I could see it be. It's probably gonna be a close one between the two. So I'll take the over in Philadelphia and Tampa Bay on Sunday.
All right, next game we have Colts at Rams. Rams are a 3.5 point favorite at home. 49.5 is the slated over under. Give me Rams minus 3.5 here. I think this is an easy one. I think they'll bounce back and they're at home and they have the home crowd even though they don't really have a home crowd because it's LA, whatever. But just give me Rams plus 3.5 here. Rams minus 3.5, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I think eventually this glass slipper for Daniel Jones and company is going to fall off, and I think this is the game. The Rams are pissed off after losing last week. I think their defense is going to provide pressure on Daniel Jones and company. The story is going to be, can they stop Jonathan Taylor, who's been sensational for the Colts so far? If they stop Jonathan Taylor, they'll have a good shot. I think this defense has shown that they can stop a premier rusher running back in the NFL. So I'll go with LA as well, minus 3.5 in that game. Our next game that we have is the match that we talked about earlier that could lead to a team being 1-3. Baltimore at KC. Ravens on the road are a 2.5 point favorite, 48.5 the over under. I don't remember the last time, Johnson, that the Chiefs were a home underdog.
Yeah, and I'm not going to buy into that. So give me Chiefs plus 2.5. There's going to be some sort of magic, and then Harbaugh over here is going to be on the real hot seat. So that's what I'm going to take. So give me Chiefs plus 2.5 here.
Originally, I was going with Baltimore and the points and the over in this game, but I'm having trouble at this point trusting Harbaugh as well. So I'm just going to take the over. I think at any point at this point in the season, with the way Baltimore's defense has been, I'm pretty much at the point where anytime I see them on the slate, I'm probably just going to take the over because unless their defense shows me something, I'm just going to take the over every single time because they have not shown me anything to give me any hope. So I'll take the points for over under and Ravens and Chiefs in that matchup. What's our next game?
So the next game we have this is our one of our primetime games this weekend. We have the Green Bay Packers going into Jerry World take on the Dallas Cowboys. This is Sunday Night Football. Packers are a road favorite at 6.5 points, and the over under is slated at 47.5. Give me Packers minus 6.5. I don't think Jerry World will do anything, so give me Packers minus 6.5.
Well, it's of course the Micah Parsons Bowl. He makes his long-awaited return to Dallas after that trade
And
that happened a
remember,
couple weeks
he
ago.
has a full suite that they would not refund him, so he's gonna have his
Yeah.
entire family there, family and friends watching. So
And let's not forget as well, CeeDee Lamb not going to play in this game after getting injured on Sunday. So that is a huge loss for the Cowboys offense. Because of that, I am really worried. I don't know. I'm not a Cowboys fan. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan. If I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be very, very, very worried right now. I don't know where your offense goes from here. George Pickens, if you have him in fantasy, I think you have got to be a little bit happy because I think the production will certainly go up with him doing that. But because of what I saw with the Packers on Sunday, I'm really scared to take the 6.5 in this game. I'm gonna go with it, but I'm not confident in it because if you can't beat the Browns, then I really don't know. This Cowboys defense is not good. You have to take advantage of this game. If you don't, can I then the team that I picked? This was a team I picked to go to the Super Bowl. If they can't capitalize on taking advantage of this Cowboys defense, it's not looking good. I'll just leave it at that. So we'll see. As you mentioned, though, it's one of our primetime games that we have this weekend. We have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football once again. Let's start off with the Jets at the Dolphins. Someone's got to win, Johnson. Someone's got to get that first illustrious win of the season. Dolphins 2.5 point favorite, 44.5 the over under.
oh boy, Dolphins minus 2.5. They're the home team. They figure it out. Maybe.
You don't sound confident in it, but yeah.
I really don't. This is the one game I have no idea what the hell's going on. So just give me the Dolphins, I guess.
This game could be bowl and shoe ugly. I can tell you that.
Bowling. I haven't heard that term in a while there.
Yeah, you know why? When was the last time you heard that? I can tell you exactly where it's from.
It's been a minute. I don't know when.
It's a Jim Ross reference from WWE.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go.
I wanted to include that just for you. Yeah, I'll take Dolphins minus 2.5 too. Justin Fields might play in this game for the Jets, but I think anytime, it's always that scenario where like any one of these AFC East teams, and you would know this from, not trying to bring up bad memories, but any of those AFC East teams going into Miami, the weather really plays it into a factor sometimes in these games. I think it's going to play a factor. The Jets almost pulled off that stunner against the Bucks, but yeah, I don't see them winning this game. I got Miami. I finally think they get the job done and get their first win, and they win this one minus 2.5. What's our final game of the week?
Final game of the week, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going into Denver to take on the Broncos on Monday Night Football. Again, there's 2 Monday night games. Broncos are a 7.5 point home favorite, and the slated over-under is 44.5, same as Jets Dolphins. Bengals plus 7.5. Jake Browning is going to find a way to cover. I don't care what happened last week. I think he's going to figure it out this week.
I mean, it can't get worse than last week, right?
Yeah, you know what? The worst is behind us. So, Jake, you got to figure it out.
I will say this is not. I mean, having to go from that to having to play the Broncos defense, that's not going to be fun. I will say that. I can't believe I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the over, but I don't feel good about it. I'm just going to trust Bo Nix and company to put points up on this Bengals defense because they're not good. And yeah, I mean, when we were picking the Bengals and Vikings, that game obviously we picked on not on the pod, but we picked that while we were in Buffalo. I got the over right in that game, just because of the Vikings putting up 48 points, and I think the over under was like 44 and a half or something. I'll just go with the over in this one. I think Denver wins this game easily, though. I don't have faith right now in the Bengals with Browning at quarterback. Russell Wilson could be the new quarterback. I'm willing to give it to him. I'm willing to trade.
Yeah, maybe, or famous
No,
Jameis.
no. We keep Jameis. No.
Okay, well,
Protect Jameis at all costs.
okay, well, I asked, so.
Um, Before we wrap up, what's your thoughts on double Monday Night Football? Are you the same mentality as me?
I think it's the dumbest thing
Thank you.
I've ever seen in my life, and
It's
this
so
is why.
stupid.
16% of the population lives on the West Coast, right? And if
Right.
you want to include the mountain states, it's probably maybe up to 25%. I don't know if that's even true. So for people, 3/4 of the country lives in Central Time and Eastern Time. So if you're starting a game at 10:30, East Coast, you're pretty much getting 90% of that, or over 75% of viewership on the East Coast, you're not getting at all. And Central Time, yeah, you'll probably get them maybe because the games are 2.5, 3 hours. So maybe you'll get some people that stay up. You'll get a lot of them, but you won't get everyone. So to me, you're just shooting yourself in the foot here with these markets. Like, yeah, the Bengals fans, for example, Bengals, they're not going to. A lot of those fans will be East Coast. So if you're starting a game at 10 p.m., you're not going to watch anything past the first quarter if you have a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, I mean,
If you have if you're a teacher, or even if you're anyone that's really not working the night shift, so any blue collar guys that are working construction sites early in the morning, like they're not watching these games. Like they're not watching
yeah.
these games. They're not watching. They're not going to watch this
Well,
atrocity on a Monday night. Let's be
you know
real. No
what?
one's watching. No one's staying up to watch Bengals Broncos till 1 o'clock in the morning if you're working a construction site in North Carolina. Let's
I
be
think
real.
the dumbest thing about it is so like this for this week. The first game's at 7. That's the Jets Dolphins, and then the next game's at 8. So
So,
basically, you can't. You have to unless you haven't like I know like I'm not trying to point you out, but like in the case
unless you have
in
two
your case, if
TVs
you have two TVs in your
to
room,
watch
you
two
cannot
games, and yes,
right. Yeah, you can watch it at once. But if you're like, not pointing myself out, but if you're like me and I have the one TV in my room, I have to watch the game on my phone just to get the other game. And I'm a
yeah. So
active wrestling fan. I want to watch wrestling too. So it's like, how
yeah,
am I
I mean,
supposed to do this?
I'm pretty soon. I'm gonna need 4 TVs to keep up with
I
what I
know,
want to do.
especially for March Madness. It's coming up
I know
soon.
I'm gonna need to put 4 TVs in my basement now.
Yeah,
But
I've
yeah,
always
like
hated
the
double
eight
Monday
o'clock,
Night Football.
if the 8 o'clock games, it's still you get the overlap, so it's a little bit better,
Yeah,
but it's not great.
I
Like
love
I,
like we had the Chargers Raiders
eight
game
eight
2 weeks
eight
ago.
8:20, 8:15. Starting the game at
Right,
8:20, 8:15 because okay, if you're on the West Coast, if you're in California, you're coming home from work. If you're in
right.
Washington State, you're coming home from work. Yeah, you'll miss the first 5, 10 minutes of the game, but then you can watch the entire game. And if you're on the East Coast, okay, if the game goes in overtime, whatever, it's done by midnight, you'll stay up, whatever. Okay, cool.
Well,
Like
I have a prime example. I was just at the Bills game last week, Thursday night. It was an
that was nuts, by the way.
8 p.m. kickoff. I did not get home to 1:30 at night, or my
Well,
uncle's house till 1:30.
you were also at the game, but it
Right,
ended
but
on the East Coast
it
around 11
ended
p.m.
at 11 exactly. It ended at around 11 or 11:30, whatever it was. Like that's the insanity of it. And even like 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football, they did the doubleheader, but that one was different because they did one at 7 and the other game was at 10 o'clock because they had Chargers Raiders. So it's like if you're on the East Coast watching, like that game kicks off at 10, like
You're not watching it.
you're not watching that game. You're not watching it at all.
You're watching a quarter.
At best, yeah.
And then Central, if you're in like Ohio, or if you're in Indiana, Iowa, the heartland of America,
Like
you're
even the
watching
game
the
tonight,
first half.
like they have two West Coast teams. Like they're kicking off at 8 o'clock. I get it, whatever. The 5 o'clock thing, just like most
Yeah,
of
it's
the East
fine.
Coast people. Yeah, that's whatever. I just stop with the double Monday Night Football.
I will say
Just
Central
stop with
Time
that.
for watching sports the way it's currently set up is the best time zone because
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get if a lot of like even the NBA, a lot of like West Coast games start at 9 or 10 p.m. So let's say you're starting at 9:30, right? Uh, 9:30. That would be Eastern. It's 8:30 Central. So like you'll catch that full game.
Yeah.
Even on the it's great for if you're living Central Time. If you live in Michigan or Iowa or Indiana, anywhere in the Midwest or anywhere
Yeah.
in Central Time, parts of Tennessee, Arkansas,
Illinois.
Louisiana, whatever, Illinois. Uh, it's fantastic for watching sports. It is great. But the East Coast, where a lot of people live, pretty awful.
Yeah.
Pretty awful that 10 o'clock start.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ranted this much on the show in a while. I
I
had a
mean,
lot to get off
I
my chest
haven't
this
either,
week.
but like it's the whole grievance of the double Monday Night
The
Football. Like
the
it
Giants
doesn't work.
the
It does
Giants
not work.
Monday Night Football really grinding my gears as the old Family Guy reference. That's really grinding my gears this week. I can tell you that. So I guess we'll leave it off with that, Johnson. We'll get ready for this upcoming Thursday night football game that's about to kick off in just an hour between Seattle and Arizona. That will kick off week number 4 in the National Football League. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. A wild week number 3 now brings us into week number 4. As I mentioned, we have a kickoff in just about an hour's time. Seahawks at Cardinals. Game in Dublin this week between the Vikings and the Steelers. We have the Eagles and the Bucks. Colts at the Rams, the Ravens at the Chiefs, and Packers and Cowboys on Sunday. And then, as much as we hate it, there are 2 games on Monday night this week, Jets and Dolphins, and the Bengals and Broncos to round out week number 4. We'll see how it all unfolds, and we'll recap it next week here live on the show. This has been Nicholas Pavona, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host Andrew Johnson for the All Gas No Break Sports Show. Have a great rest of your week.